All right. Tonight we're going to be talking with ChrisDooGood. He's known on Minds as Do Better. Hi, Chris.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
Doing good. How about you, Bobdub?
Yeah, pretty good today, have to say. I heard you weren't doing so well though, Rebel.
Oh, what a day I have had. First thing this morning, I was okay when I got out of bed and I went. We always have coffee every morning. So I was going in to sit down. I take my walker and then I sit on the stool that I have. And I went to sit down, and all of a sudden, the stool was not staying upright, and I was going sideways with it,
Yeah.
with my walker in tow. So I hit my head on the very back, right on the back here. Okay. All right. Tonight, we're going to be talking with ChrisDooGood. He's known on Minds as Do Better. Hi, Chris.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
Doing good. How about you, Bob Dub?
Yeah, pretty good today, have to say. I heard you weren't doing so well though, Rebel.
Oh, what a day I have had. First thing this morning, I was okay when I got out of bed and I went. We always have coffee every morning. So I was going in to sit down. I take my walker and then I sit on the stool that I have. And I went to sit down, and all of a sudden, the stool was not staying upright, and I was going sideways with it,
Yeah.
with my walker in tow. So I hit my head on the very back, right on the back here, pretty darn hard. And like an idiot, I just laid there crying. And Justin came running out of the bathroom. Was like, "Oh no, you didn't fall." I'm like, "Yeah, duh."
Oh.
But he could have probably just picked me right up. But stubborn me, it's like, no, nobody's helping me. I'm getting up myself. And I did. But I used him like a tree trunk. I finally got on my knees. I got myself on my walker on the bottom rings, made it to the top, and then it was like, okay, how am I going to get my other leg up? And he said, just use me however you got to. So I grabbed a hold of his shoulders and just pulled. And
Wow.
you know what I was thinking the whole time? Who is my rock? Yeah, I might have the rock, but I got a rock right here too.
That's so wonderful.
So
Yeah.
It's
Saying
awesome.
that. Yeah,
yeah,
it is fantastic. I was just thinking about other elderly people who fall down in their kitchens with no sun in the next room.
yep.
It's
And
really
you did the
blessed, don't
same
you
thing,
say?
Chris. You helped your mom too, didn't you? His
Yeah, I've
mom,
had to pick my mom up.
yep, literally and physically and mentally.
Yeah.
You helped her get through cancer.
That's
That's what a good son is, you know?
Yeah. That must have been really hard though, Chris, seeing your mom suffering like that.
I mean, it scared the dickens out of me. She called me in the middle of the night. I was half asleep and I jumped up, ran in there, and
Mhm.
yeah, she was out, like passing out. I had to catch her and then lay her down on the floor and go get some water. And yeah, made her drink water, and
Yeah.
her blood pressure, I guess, was spiked, so needed some water.
Hmm.
Wow,
That's
how scary that
that's not
is.
scary, hey. Yeah.
But after that, she was good.
Yeah, well done you. Do
Yeah,
better. That's how to do it.
yeah, yeah. I had to, think fast. Like first, I was giving her sugar pills, and then I actually searched like what to do for blood pressure, and that said water. So,
Hmm. Well, really, is that the thing to do for blood pressure? Give water?
uh-huh.
God, I didn't.
Huh,
If they have either high or low blood pressure, it helps equalize it.
huh. I
Well,
didn't know that
hmm.
here.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My son and I were just talking today about how we need to go back to that. You know, it used to be over in Europe, the all the families were together. The kids might leave and go away, but then when mom and dad got old, the family would come back together if they even ever were apart. You might have, like my grandparents, for example, down in Charleston, they had like everybody. They couldn't afford to buy a house, so they moved into these apartments together, the whole freaking family all on one floor. You know, I think that's important that we get back to families being, with all this stuff that's happening, trying to keep us separate. It's like that just isn't working. And I'd like to say that just showed it to me today. What would I have done? I have this little thing, this bracelet thing I could wear, but that's not like having your son coming up and saying, "Mom, what happened?" It's just,
Right.
yeah. So it's the Bobdub and I've been talking about those things that just they happen for a reason, like he left, he was on his own for a while. And the funny thing was he was living with two gay girls. Boy, it was so funny. They had quite the life together. And he was having a ball, but as it turned out,
Sounds like interesting roommates.
oh, they were. One of them was kind of not sure she was gay all the way, but he had a good time. But then things started going a little rough, and he came right back home, and he's been here ever since. And wow, I tell you what, it's been the best decision I ever made to let him stay here. And now I've got two men and then me, and well, I couldn't do this by myself. I'm getting where I have to have help,
Yes.
And when it's your own family,
Mm.
there's something about that.
Well, there's a lot of children are staying with their parents much, much longer. It used to be sort of 18 years old, kids moved out, and now we're onto something like 28 or 30 years old is the age that children are moving out of home because everything is so expensive and everything that people are living together for longer.
Mm-hmm. And when that all ended, it was just so natural for him to just come back, and then he had another shot with a girl that he thought he was going to end up marrying, and boy, that didn't work out either. And like we said, and I know, Chris, you've got a child, you've had a relationship that didn't work. Or something happened there, and we've all kind of been through that. That's why we call ourselves the dark beauties and the dark nights. We've all been through. Have we been through some stuff?
The dark time.
For sure.
Yep, dark times. Yep. And
But I
that's
pull myself through it,
yeah.
Gotta keep standing up, moving forward.
You said we were just talking about that the other day. Moving forward, keeping moving, going ahead. I had a friend that we aren't really much, we're not friends at all anymore, but he said something about that to me. He said, there's a word for it in Hebrew called kadima, and it means basically almost like a command, keep moving, move forward. And whether you feel like your world's been knocked down to nothing or you still have to pick up and just keep, like I did today, got knocked right on the floor, but you got to keep picking up and keep going.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of those stories, those stories where they use, I'm sure I've used the imagery to you a lot recently, Rebel, about being in the bottom of the pit and pulling yourself out of the pit. It's no fun in the dark. It's no fun at the bottom of the pit. What was it, Winston Churchill who said, if you're going through hell, keep going?
I think so. Yep. One of those wartime people. I just watched a thing by Patton. Did you ever see that movie where he has that speech, that rousing speech? And I every time I hear it, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, but there's something about that. It's no matter how bad things get. I've told you, Bobdub. I don't know if I told you, Chris, but I was at a point where I was completely out of it. I had my face to the wall, completely not communicating with anybody. And to look at where I came from that to here, being able to be a grandma and homeschooling. It's like, wow. You know, you can pull out of those things, but it definitely changes you. Definitely does.
Yeah, looking back is interesting.
Yeah,
It's good to look back, but it's good to be where you are.
Yeah. Boy, I wouldn't want to go backward. That going
never
forward is
too late.
never good. That's right, Chris. Never too late.
Mm.
That's our whole purpose on here, I think, Chris. We're trying to talk with everybody that we have been influenced by, you know, and you're one that just has been such a huge influence on me.
Oh,
You,
and me.
Well, thank you.
oh yeah,
I'm glad I,
he has been
could.
so supportive.
So supportive. And you know, there are a lot of people who choose names on the internet, and you're like, why? But do better. It's kind of like so obvious. And
Hmm.
you do it. It's not just that you talk about it, you actually do it. And that to me is what has made for me such a great difference and why you've sort of been a mentor.
I'm definitely not perfect, and I strive to do better every day. And even when I don't hit the mark, I don't try. I don't beat myself up. But I know I'm not perfect, and I don't claim to be. But I am trying to just do better in everything that I do.
And you live it too, Chris. You know, I told you, Bobdub, when Mark died, I was like, I don't know what the heck I was gonna do. I was sitting here like, what am I gonna do? And the lady at the apartment complex said, well, we only have so much time, but you know, we'll figure something out. And then I just sat here and I thought, who do I know? And it was just Chris's name just popped into my head.
Mm.
And darn if he didn't say, sure, I'll do it. I mean, man, how many places are you going to run into someone that's that caring, that loving? Man, it has impressed me so much. The only other person that I've ever met in person was James Willie Lee.
Mm.
And he he's an encourager, but it was a totally different situation with him than it was with Chris. Chris was more like the son that you know, you say a brother from another mother. A son from another mother is like, well, sure, I will, of course. You know, that's what family does. And Chris, we've been talking about that. I know mine's isn't perfect for all its warts and everything, but man, what a family you can make there of people that you might never even meet in person. But we actually did.
Well, I'm actually trying to push it to where, people are willing to meet, because I feel like it's very low level of communication going on with just text,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and there's so much more that we could be, learning and building if we would get out and get together and start to communicate in real life. Even this, even having conversations like this is better, and not many people utilize these tools, and I just don't understand it. So many people are afraid to get out from behind the keyboard.
I was one of them. But you know what? Now that I'm on the other side of it, I wouldn't go back for love or money. You know, we've got something to say. And the more I keep talking to you and Bobdub and other people that just happen to pop into my channel, it's like we're building something here. But not everybody can be in person. But if you can, I remember how you used to go around, I forget what you called those on road things where you would drop into people. You were going to
What is
go
that?
up. There was a time when you were saying you were going to go up and down the coast and try to meet people while you were out and about, and you're still
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah. I would love to do it. It's just things with my mom and other life.
But you've done it. You went and
Slowed
met,
me down on that, but eventually.
yeah,
Hmm.
you met
Went and met who?
Lady Red, Kim,
Yeah, yeah. And Mads,
yeah.
Chris Madser.
Mm-hmm. I remember Mines used to talk about doing meetups, and I'm starting to think, I know it's not going to help you much, Bobdub, over here, but I'm wondering if you don't have some people in New Zealand too. But there is something about connection, however we do it, whether, you and I met in person, Chris, but Bobdub and I have never met in person, but I still feel like I could be sitting right next to her because we're sitting talking, and it's just, it brings, like you said, it brings a community. And Bobdub and I have been talking about staying in the flow, in the circuit, the electric, it has to flow. So I
Yep.
think that's what I'm hoping for. And we all have these ones that are connected, however we call it. We count on something bigger than us. And Bobdub and I, we were calling it God, and we were sitting one night talking, and I think she came up with God is love, right? So why don't we just say love? Because we have to have, that's the hard thing, is talking about, when you talk about spirituality, the words, everyone has different words, but we're all thinking the same thing. We all want to be part of that big thing that we know we're all just pieces of it. But it's how we say it to each other. But you know what, more than anything, it's what we do. Words can get in the way, can't they? But there's something about doing it. Bobdub being here when I'm hurting, or me being there when you coming through when I needed it,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think
I hear you.
that isn't that love in action, So the more I keep thinking of it, I keep hearing that the love rebellion. I can't think of a better way to put it. Because what do they want us to do? They want us to be in our own little corners, and I'm sitting here in my own little corner. We all are, but we're making a connection anyway, in spite of it.
Absolutely.
So,
how do you find? I mean, Chris, you speak about making connections and talking to people and everything. How do you find that
Mm-hmm.
actually working in your online life? Because I know that we started off on Minds with gatherings. That was the first face-to-face contact that I had with Minds people. And now in chat, it's kind of the same, but it's gone to another level. But it's beyond that. It's more out in the world, I think, that you're speaking about.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that I'm just like trying to project, I guess. And now I'd love to do other things. Like I was gonna go do the bike tour and get out and have like mines on the like a camper type of thing that I was gonna
on the road,
I was gonna make a bike trailer with camper type deal out of like old signs, the Coroplast. Anyway, I was gonna put like mine stickers and stuff on it.
How cool. Remember that you've got to smuggle yourself into New Zealand and make a doco of it.
If I had the funding, I'd be doing all kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If money wasn't an issue, what things we could do, I know. I'd be on a plane in a heartbeat.
I'd be doing all kind of mines meets all over the world.
Wouldn't that be fun?
There's something special about mines. That's something that Bobdub and I talked about before. It is what you make it. And I had to change my attitude. I was grumpy about, how everything's such a mess, and blah, 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 blah. And one day I sat here and I was like, this is just not doing anybody any good. I'm going to just be happy for what we got. And I go back to that one I made, the meme, the meeting of the minds. If that isn't what minds is. And do you find that anywhere else? So many different platforms. I just don't see it anywhere.
The amount of links that we go to entertain ourselves, to distract ourselves from actually connecting it's atrocious.
It is.
We sit in all these stadiums elbow to elbow, but not even connecting with anybody.
That's so true. And now with the social distancing, where was I this morning? I went, maybe it was just in the grocery store. and there are these big dots on the floor. You have to stand there, and that person's not allowed to cross the line, and that person mustn't go here. And it's like a whole nother level of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
And we're over here in the
That's
United
what
States, in my area, saying, "Oh yeah, tell me I can't."
Imagine what could happen if that many people got together instead of going to an event to watch it to mindlessly, drain themselves. They were actually there to connect and like get to know each other and figure something out, build something. Imagine what we could do.
I feel that. That's what Bobdub and I have been talking about. I can feel minds. It's like it's building connections. And the one newest guy I've been talking to that has this antique shop, he talks about building a bar, and he wants to have people come over, and it's that kind of thing. Actually doing something. And I haven't told you as much, Chris, but Bobdub and I have been talking. I'm building a real neighborhood here too. At the same time that we're talking about building, I've got a neighbor building my deck. A guy that I wasn't too sure about. I had my questions about him, but now that I got to know him, it's like, wow, how dumb I was. I had preconceived ideas about this guy, and here he is he's going to build me a built-in bench that I wasn't even expecting to have. He was talking about how the way the shape of it is, it would be perfect. But we're not only talking about that deck, we're talking about the neighborhood. And we had, when you were here, Chris, we had some built houses that are empty, and it's a neighborhood that used to be going up and it started going down, but now all of a sudden we're all outside and we're connecting, and we're talking about things like, hey, there's a spring over there. If things get rough, we're going to have to keep these ideas in mind. We're concealed carry, both of us. And he's connecting with more people. The guy on the front of us is a construction guy too. And they're talking about buying these empty houses. He's already bought one. And they're going to fix these houses up. And it's these little conversations that we're having about little things, and it turns out we're building a neighborhood. And Minds is doing that kind of online, but like you were saying, Chris, it's really cool to take that and translate it out there, the real world too. And these chats here, these are great because we can't all meet together. I can't see Bobdub unless things change. You can't even fly into New Zealand right now, I don't even think.
No, you can't. Completely change the borders, close the borders. Yep.
But we can't stop us talking.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? It is. I've been thinking about that a lot. Chris, you were mentioning about the 3D environments. You said you were going to start a business doing the 3D photography and tutorials and things like that. And I was thinking that was so interesting.
Not tutorials, virtual tours. So I go take pictures at like house, business, whatever, and take them. They're 360 pictures, and then you link them together, and they can walk through their business like they're actually there.
So you can create a 3D virtual environment. You yourself, Chris, can actually.
Yeah.
And so what would the benefit?
Kind of like a 3D scan or whatever.
That is like those virtual home tours. I've seen them when we were looking for houses before. They're really nice. I know a guy that does it with drones.
You can look at it on your phone or the computer, or you can put a VR headset on.
Yeah.
And then it's more immersive, like you're actually there.
Gosh. So one of the things I've been thinking of doing is making a 3D art gallery and taking photos of my art and putting it on the walls of a computer gallery. And people have been saying that you can't do that. But what you're saying is that you can do that.
Yeah, you can. You could either take pictures of your art and then build it in a program called Blender, or they have other software that you can use and build the whole world, like not an actual picture. You just take the picture of your painting or whatever, your art, and then you would put it in a room that you create. Or you can take a picture of your art inside of a room
Yeah.
and then link all the pictures together. And then they could do like a virtual walkthrough.
That's fascinating. So have you done any of that before? Have you built virtual?
I've done a few for different stores in the area.
Oh, so you've already produced actually versions of this that
Yeah, there you can look them up on Google.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the benefit of that for the store owner?
It gives the customers the ability to go to the store and look inside before they're actually there. And not only do they see the products, they see where the products are on the shelf. And, basically a advertisement,
Mm.
form of advertisement.
That's fantastic. That's sort of like, that's almost as if you can sort of cut down your wasted time. You can jump on your computer, you can figure out what's in the shop, where it is in the shop, and then go straight there.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing thing.
Know where it's at on the shelf.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. You can get even more detailed with it, add pictures that are closer up so they get a more detailed look.
Wow.
But it just depends on what the customer wants.
So when I spoke to you about having the Samsung little 3D thing, that camera, you said that it was really
Yeah.
old technology, and you mentioned this new technology. Can you tell me about it? I'm fascinated to hear all about this 3D.
For the last 10 or so, 15 maybe years, they started doing the 360 technology, and when they first came out, they were very poor quality. Everything looked pretty much grainy,
Right.
and you couldn't, like an old cell phone picture type of deal.
Yeah.
And within the last, say, 3 to 5 years, they've stepped up their game, and the quality of the 360 cameras are starting to push the limits on like what some of the regular cameras are doing.
Wow.
So
It's just so mind-blowing for me. I'm sure I told you the other day, Rebel, how I was remembering how when I was a little girl, I don't know, maybe 12 or 14 or something, my mom on Sunday lunch, my mom would say things like, "So where do you think we will all be in the year 2000?" And I remember once a Star Trek, was it? My mother saying, "Do you think we'll ever have TVs like that we can talk to each other on?"
I remember us talking about the communicators. Yeah.
And you
And here we are.
saying that this is where we are, Chris. That's your opinion, is that we're already in at this level of technology where
yeah, before the actual 360 cameras came out, they were doing 360 photography with a DSLR or professional type camera, and have it on a tripod with a nodal type of it's called a something nodal something. It basically makes it to where the when you spin the camera around, it keeps it at the same angle throughout the room, so it doesn't get anything
wow.
out of alignment. And then they would take pictures of 8 to 10 different pictures of the room, and then stitch them together and make it a 360 photograph.
That's fantastic. So you would make
I can do that also.
so that's like making a fully immersive 3D environment, like one of those MMOs, those games.
Yeah.
So you can just do your own. I'm absolutely blown away.
Yeah, you can do it with your cell phone. It's a little bit more difficult and the quality is not as good, but you can still get it done.
So
Yeah, he has some 360 videos on his channel. Have you seen any of them,
no,
Bobdub?
I have not. I kind of get.
You have
I
to
used
check
to
them
get
out.
sidetracked by your photos of you surfing. Is it body surfing or bodyboarding or something, Chris? Or is it?
I haven't actually got started doing that yet, but I mean, I went a few times, but wasn't successful. Got washed out, but I'll get there.
Yeah.
How do
I've
you,
I have
I've got more videos of me whitewater rafting.
right.
It's a little easier to whitewater raft and not as ballsy. At least you got something you're contained inside of and not out in the water. When you're
and
on
I
the riverboard, you're just out there in the water.
Yeah.
you're out there doing it, and I'm at this point where I can't do so much of that anymore. And being able to just sit in my chair and watch that kind of stuff in my chair,
Mm.
it's so. I used to go on river trips when I was younger, and I missed a lot of that stuff. But somebody else was taking pictures of waterfalls on mines for the longest time and sending me the sound of the waterfall because I can't, even if I could get into the mountains, I'm certainly not going to be able to climb up to where a waterfall is anymore. But I get to experience because of Chris and people like him. There's always, what were you saying, Bob? That we all have a purpose. We all have a place where we fit.
I
Said
believe it.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I know Chris does a lot of things, but that's another thing that you do, Chris, that you might not even thought about. There's people that can't do that, and just watching you it gives us like the armchair view. It's like you're right in the middle of it. It's really kind of beautiful when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I was out there doing a lot more. It's just life gets in the way, but
Oh,
I'll get there eventually.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. Well, as you get older, you suddenly discover that you're not that important in the world anymore and you've got your free time. So, hey, Rick, that's what we've discovered, that we don't need to be doing it. We can just sort of like take a back seat and do our own stuff now.
yeah, that's why we call ourselves grandmas now. You're the younger one, and we're the grandmas. We're gonna just cheer you guys on. But on another level, though, Chris, this is something I've been talking about with some people, and I think we need to go there sooner or later. It's like people are being called ahead of time into what's going to be new after this whole world here goes. Obviously, it's not in too great shape anymore. And it's almost like you guys, you younger guys, are already seeing it. Like you showed me that was it? No, it was it was a video, and then it gave you a chance to sign about. You want to talk about that, Chris? The Constitutional Convention. I think that's important.
Yeah, I don't understand why more people aren't raising a stink about that and calling for a constitutional convention and getting some shit done because obviously there's a lot of corruption that everybody sees. How can you not?
Yeah. With this weekend, did you watch any of those football games where they were saying F Biden? Wow. And Anthony
No.
Fauci's like, you guys need to put your mask on. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, make us. Those football stadiums were packed. It's definitely something coming.
The world is changing.
Yep.
Really changing.
Yeah, it's gotta change because
It has to.
I don't understand how it can continue this way. The way that police interact with everybody is like everybody's a criminal, and the whole system's set up that way to keep everybody afraid and in line, and you know, rule by fear instead of having thought for themselves and the mental capacity to know how to act and to behave instead of having to have somebody holding something over them. That's ridiculous. I could go on about that,
Oh,
but
please.
I don't.
Go on, please do.
It's very
I mean,
for us because we just don't know. We've sort of almost come to the end of what we understand about how to operate the world. And well, I mean, the next generation after us have a completely different way of thinking about security and surveillance. And I think my generation gave up and said, oh, well, fraud is a part of life. We can't get away from it. And your generation hasn't taken that stance at all.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's definitely something that you have to put in the equation, but the people that are making the equations are fucked. Their
Mm-mm.
decision making is geared towards more greed and power and fear. And that's the only way that they think that they can control anything is by fear. So they're waving these fear flags all over the place, trying to keep everybody in line, and they're trying to instill more fear and more less liberties and all that for the
Mm. The
bullshit illusion, the illusion of security. It's like the theater. It's a big fucking play.
Ah,
Everybody's actors.
mm,
William Shakespeare, all the world's a stage.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. One of the reasons why I love Mind so much is that it's built on this blockchain technology and the whole idea
Mm-hmm.
of having this place where things are transparent and that you can actually know what's happening instead of having to trust what's happening and then be deluded because your trust is misplaced. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I've been fascinated to take part in this experiment, and it's such a different way of thinking. It's a way of thinking that like I said, we've given up, but you're taking it to the next level. I mean, 3D imaging must be it's a different way of thinking. All we think about, Rebel, you and me, we think about 2D images. 3D
Yeah.
image is like, wow, see what the kids are doing.
Yeah.
It sees everything.
Yeah.
You can't get away from the camera. there's
No.
there's like only a couple of different ways to get away from the camera.
Yeah.
You got to put it on your head, you
Yeah.
know,
Like you
and
did.
then yeah, or or just hide behind something. So
Yeah.
But you're
it's
out there in your
interesting.
real world and you're doing things. And Bobdub and I were like she's kind of said, our world is fading. Your world is coming in. Like it's a new age too. We're in the age of Aquarius, like it or not.
Yeah.
And it's like these younger people. And Chris, you're not even 40 yet, right? Or you're right around 40.
Yeah,
I don't want to give ages
yeah.
away,
I'm
but
41.
my son is about that same age, and it's like these are you and him and all these other people I'm talking to. They're like, oh yeah, we're already seeing what's coming. They know, it's like you already had this built-in thing with you, and that's what the grannies and us is loving, seeing these young guys because we're going, oh my gosh, it's I was literally the world is ending. It felt like to me, and it kind of was a. Sometimes I can definitely feel my mortality, like today when I saw my life going in front of my eyes again. But when we're watching you guys, it's like it's not the end of anything. It's new. Something new is coming. That's what I can feel it in my bones, and I know a lot of other people can. And when we bring people on here, that's what I want to focus on is all you guys have these ideas in mind. You got these 3D videos, and we have people that have other things that they're doing, and you're all planning for something that I may not ever see it, but I might see some of it. And it's so exciting to hear you guys like, eh, we've had wars before, we've had empires fall before, so
So let's do it
you just
better. Yeah. Yeah. So, Rebel, have you
That's
have
okay.
you
I
heard
don't
about
mind.
have you heard about NFTs?
I had, and I heard it again tonight, believe it or not.
Hmm?
I was listening to Censorship Sucks show, and they started Willie, no less. James was talking about non-fungible, whatever. And here we go again. That's your world that I am just totally lost in, but I'm thinking, wow.
Hmm.
And Chris, aren't you doing something like that? You had some kind of thing.
I actually I don't so I don't have any, and I would
Oh,
love to have some, but the way it goes, you have to have Ethereum and
right.
or WETH, which is wrapped Ethereum,
Hmm.
and then you go on OpenSea or Rarible or different sites, and you can buy them and trade them.
Hmm. I want to build them. And I think that you can do them not just on the Ethereum blockchain, because I found something called Raven Coin, which you can get for about like 12 cents each. So it's like really cheap and really affordable. And as I understand it, the actual token isn't the important thing. The NFT is just the address of where the actual art is. Is that right?
Right, something like that.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways that you can do it. I understand what is going on. I just don't have the funds to get
Oh.
it going. I didn't cash my mines tokens out when I should have, back when it was almost $4. Anyway, um,
Mhm.
uh, you can take a piece of art and you can do a one-off, and then that's the NFT and that's the art. It could be a physical piece of art that is stored in that, NFT, and you can sell it, and then they get the piece of art and the NFT. Then if somebody else wants to sell it, keeps going.
Yes.
Um,
It's almost
Also,
like a
it
new
could
form of
be it.
advertising.
Well, it's more like I don't know, a kind of form of collectibles.
Yes. Like football cards, hey?
Yeah, yeah, football cards, baseball cards,
Oh,
stuff like that.
cards. Yeah. Yeah.
But you can go even further and make anything a collectible. So like a piece of art becomes a collectible.
Mhm.
And the you could also make like a digital piece of art and turn it into an NFT.
Right.
So, like what Bobdub does, the pictures with the frames, that
Uh
could
huh.
be an NFT.
Yep. And to do this, you have to pay some ETH to turn it into an NFT, or you have to know how to code and create your own NFT.
Yeah. Learn.
And now you're talking stuff I am just
So
not
the
here.
the Minds token is a token. So what I understand is that NFT means non-fungible token, but the Mind
Correct.
token is similar because it's a token. What does token mean?
No,
Uh,
mine's is more of a smart contract, so that it's a smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain.
right, right.
Okay.
So, uh, the NFTs are also a smart contract technically, but it's different.
Yeah, different.
uh,
All right. So what I was thinking was, if you had a token on a blockchain, could you sell
yeah,
that token on a separate blockchain?
I don't know.
Because there's two
That's
methods.
beyond my understanding so far.
Mine too.
I'm trying to figure it out because the tokens on mine.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
But Minds is talking about doing the NFTs to where we could, I guess, pay Minds tokens and turn things into NFTs. But they haven't done that yet.
What is so
That's what I like
But
about
also, you can not only do like one off with the NFTs, you could make 100 copies, and then number them one of one, one of one of two,
yes. I have
one of
it's a
100, whatever.
yeah.
for me. It's something I never even heard of it till a couple of weeks ago. I think, yeah, Bobdub, you told me about it.
Did
I
I?
was like, what's an NFT? I never heard of it.
So why I got interested in it was when I was studying for my art degree 10 years ago, maybe. One of the lectures that they had was this. I suppose he was an art history professor, and he was talking about how artists die poor. As soon as they die, their work becomes valuable. And so the people who have collected their work during their life become wealthy, where they die in poverty. And so in the art world, collectors are almost um, they're almost users, they're almost fraudulent. They come in, they buy something at a very low price from a struggling artist, they keep it until it's dead, and then they sell it for $100,000. So with the move onto blockchain technology, you no longer have to have that guy in the middle. You don't have the collector. The artist sells straight to the public. And it seems to me
Mm-hmm.
Minds token is the same as that, Chris. You don't have to go to a advertising company to organize an advertising contract. You can
So
organize.
you're saying Minds itself is a big NFT?
What am I saying that? I'm saying no. I'm saying that yes. I suppose I am saying that. But then the token itself is like a sub token because you can use the Minds token to buy things from Minds. And the main thing you can buy from Minds is advertising, boosting, or you can upgrade your account by paying in tokens. So tokens is like a money, a Minds. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically a utility uh, token for the Minds platform is what it was intended for. But yeah, there it could be traded and everything. So yeah, you can do pretty much whatever you want to with it. As far as I know, I mean, within the bounds of all the stupid legal bullshit, which if you aren't hurting anybody or, causing any kind of destruction or harm, then you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
Concur.
What is that called? Natural law, Chris?
Yeah.
If you're not hurting anyone, there's no crime. We need to get back to that. And I think that's what I think we're heading in the direction of. Everybody is sick to death of these people that think they run the world. It's just getting old. But they don't want to let go, do they, man? They are fighting, like you said, with the fear and the authoritarianism. It's so nice to see these, even though I don't understand it all, just looking at it and seeing you guys you're trying to do a different way. And it's something that's kind of foreign to me. Because I'm not very techy, but just listening to it, it's like, yeah, you guys figured out a way around these middle guys, you know? And that's what it's going to be. This constitutional convention, Bobdub, I know you haven't heard much about it, but Chris sent me this information the other day. It's something we can do here in the United States. We could say, hey, this constitution isn't, we need to fix stuff. And it's been available for a long time.
Mm.
And there's states that have already joined, I believe. But if we don't start getting together, like we were saying earlier, these things that you're doing, it's Well, eventually, I think it's going to be money making. And I used to really kind of grit my teeth at it. But, money is a tool. And we have to have our own way of getting, like I think you said, Bobdub, in Africa, they use one of those coins and they go out and buy dinner with it. You know,
Mm.
it it's a whole new way of thinking. And again, it's that spirit. I don't know what words to use because we're trying to get out of the old Bible belt
Mm.
that everybody doesn't like, And Chris has been saying we need to complete the Bible. And I was thinking the other day when he said that, you guys are doing it. When you're looking at the Bible and you read the book of Acts where the Christians are all getting together and they're trying to figure out how to change their world, you guys are changing this world. And maybe that book's it's done. They say it's complete, and everybody argues about how many books are in it and all that stuff. Who's to say we can't start writing a new book? And you guys are actually doing it. You're not just writing it; you're doing new things, and it excites me to see it. Whatever words you want to use for it, connection, source. Bobdub and I say love. It's all this. It's like you guys are all hearing this in your head. Yeah, there's a new way to move forward, and we're not going to go back to the old. That same old keep moving forward. And I wasn't seeing that for the longest time because of my mental state and my physical health. I was like, ugh, it's over. Just hang it up. Let this darn old world die. And then I see people like you and like this guy over in England building a shop so he can do more with his antique stuff. I'm like, wow, you guys, it's so inspiring. And that's why I keep going back to that connection. And you keep saying that same thing. Yes, we're connecting online, but then it's going further. And I think that's what we're going to need here in the United States. And I don't know what's going to happen with New Zealand and Australia and these other places. Though, I think they're watching us, Chris. I think they're waiting to see what are you guys going to do? Like Australia, New Zealand, they don't have their guns anymore. Britain doesn't have theirs anymore. But yeah, we have those, but we're not just stopping at that point. You're making your own. Yeah, Chris, you
So
going on that.
the only thing to fear is fear itself, and everybody knows that, and it's a simple thing to understand, but at the same time, sometimes the simplest things are the hardest things to actually overcome.
Woohoo.
For sure.
And even I find myself in fear, but I know that I ultimately have the power.
Mm.
That's right.
And whenever that fear overcomes me, I basically just tell myself I have the power, and I can, I will, I am. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
So good, yes.
And
He's writing a new
and
Bible.
Yes.
It's even though I still get that daily, fear or mentality, cave mentality, whatever you want to call it. I know that I've been outside, and I'm trying to get everybody else to go see the light.
Mm.
Chris, you just used the most perfect Plato's cave. We are all sitting in Plato's cave, but some of us have been out there in the light, and we're like, hey, you dummies, there's something better out there. That's such a beautiful explanation. And we all are kind of in caves right now with lockdowns and everything going to, but we don't have to get stuck there. That's what you guys are giving me hope because, yeah, you are afraid. I get afraid sometimes too. So that part of me is like, okay, well, you're afraid. What are you afraid of? I'm really not afraid of things, but there's things that I think about if things do get bad. So what did I do? I bought some food and put it away. So I don't worry about, you know, I might not have as much as I'd like to have, but I'm doing things that I think are going to be important down the road. I'm getting ammunition. And
Right.
we're all hearing these calls to action somewhere else. And I told Bobdub the other day, we were talking about diamonds are a girl's best friend, and we were talking about how diamonds have all these facets in them. And she was mentioning that she has a granddaughter named Emerald. And I was thinking, what a difference to go from this sharp, blinding thing to something earthy and green. And that's kind of what we're doing. This whole thing is going from this old world that's sharp and ragged and
Yep.
full of corruption, and it'll cut you like a knife. But then you younger people are saying, yeah, we don't want that anymore. We're going to make something different. And you all have different ideas, but we get back to that same thing, the facets. It's like you're shining on each other. How it's happening is beyond me if you don't use the word spiritual somehow. But there's a connection, and it's really amazing to see it. And Chris was the first person I thought of, because if I wanted to start this show off with somebody who did more than just talk, there you go. He's doing more than just talking. You know, and you and I, we're at that age where talking is about all we're doing anymore.
We got there. And Chris,
Yeah.
you are like that. It is amazing, and you are inspirational. And Rebel has mentioned to me quite a few times in the last maybe 2 or 3 months while we've been talking together about your idea of completing the Bible. I'm really interested to hear what you think about that, how that's going to work out in real life.
It's definitely going to take a lot of convincing to a lot of people. And once enough people are convinced, then we can sit down and have a talk and, let it all out on the table of, this religion's ideologies and rules and blah blah blahs, and then this one's whatever's, and all the different religions, or whatever you want to call them, faiths, and see what all the different religions are saying.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a lot of commonality, because we're all fucking human. We're all on the same fucking planet.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. And
either flat plate or spinning ball, whatever fuck we're on.
We're in it together.
We're in it together, and we all have the ability to sit down and have a conversation peacefully. And I don't know what it's going to take to get there, but I can't see us not getting there.
I can't either now, though. Now that I've known young people, or younger people like you, I was getting pretty defeatist there for a while. Like, oh man, this is a mess. I don't see how we're ever going to get out of it. And then I'm hearing other people going, oh yeah, watch me. And if that's not the rebel spirit, I don't know what is. I have to bring up something that I saw yesterday. I had changed my name to Revolution because I saw that the article that said rebellion is bad, revolution is good. And yesterday I was out on the porch and I listened to a song I wanted to hear, and then all of a sudden this song Rebel came up. And the whole story of it was, be a rebel for me. And I'm thinking, Chris, you don't use the same terminology, but for me, that rebel, Jesus was a rebel. He was a revolutionary. His kingdom wasn't of this world.
That's what I'm starting to understand, that the manipulation was so convenient. Because the most rebellious and revolutionary people of our time It's been because they seen through the bullshit and they were drawing attention to what we need to be paying attention to,
Hmm.
trying to wake everybody up. So
Yep.
you have to be a rebel to make a difference, I guess.
Instead of rebel without a cause, I'm a rebel with a cause. And I know I'm not the only one. And I know that word, the name Jesus bothers a lot of people, but he was there for that age. And it says in the Bible, I will be with you to the end of the age. And maybe there's so many different ways of putting it. And I do think he was unique because it was something they changed the world, you know? That it was a rebellion against power,
Mhm.
but it was also a new world in the creation. And we can quit looking at that as history because it's happening again. It's rhyming. It's not the exact same thing, but you guys are hearing a spirit. And however we come together, I think it's going to work out because the basis of it is if you can talk, like you just said, Chris, if you can talk and come and find some common ground, you find that we all are connected, and what we all desperately want to be loved and to give our love back. And I don't care if you call him Jesus or you want to call him Christian. There was someone who came here because they loved us, and it's going to happen again. It's going to be a new. I just really think you guys are going to have your own new story, your own new chapter. So I really, Bobdub and I say that we call you guys dark knights, the ones that we see that are out there doing things. Chris, I know you've seen a little bit of that, but that's the way we feel. Like you guys have been dinged and you've had rough times and nothing, a lot of things that you had in your life didn't work out the way you wanted, but you don't give up. You just keep on going. So we see us as like the old grannies rubbing your armor. you know, let's get you all cleaned up and get you guys back out there, and we're just going to sit here and watch and say, yeah, that's
Well,
what I see. I'm so happy to see people like you.
so great. We have been talking for about an hour now, and I just like to end off maybe, Chris, with just one more question because I think that the points that you've been making since the beginning is the importance of talking. And you've just brought it back there, Rebel, back to talking. And we've been talking about how different religions and different points of view need to talk. Chris, what do you think about the development of a new language to talk to each other in? Do you?
Oh, thank you. Glad you brought that up. Yeah, that definitely needs to happen. So a more universal uh, understanding of language is a huge huge issue because there's so much confusion in our daily lives and just going from place to place. So if we could get more, have a more common uh, ability to communicate things, then it would more people would see the genuine quality in each other.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, the qualities that you can only talk about, there's a part of it that's seeing what's going on, and there's a part of that's hearing what's going on. And there's a fine balance between those two.
And then there's a third level,
Mm.
like Chris's name. You see, you hear, and then what do? You do,
Wow.
you know?
And you do better.
Yep. And I was telling Bob Dub the other day that the church that I grew up in, you have to have this language. You walk in the door and your brother so and so, or sister so and somebody asks you how you feel. Yeah, you might say the real thing, but for the most part, you're like, oh, I'm blessed. Right.
Mm.
That is such a foreign world to someone like Chris. And my son, even, he went to church because I was a Sunday school teacher. But my God, you know what he told me one day? He said, this was when he was a kid. That place is so fake. That's what we got to get away from. Get real, people.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Take off
And
you talk about a
that's
mask.
mainly what I'm talking about with even like right here trying to communicate. It's so difficult to formulate the words that you want to say, and sometimes you think of it later, and then you try to come back to that conversation, and it's like so far gone. There's like,
Yeah.
oh well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
So
try not to use those traditional words anymore because it turns people off. It's really sad, but it does. It turns people off. And you guys are going on and not even bothering about it. There's a terminology there that you guys are creating, but again, you're not just talking, and it's important to talk, but this these younger people, I guess millennials and whatever the ones before, that's that age range, you're just you're doing it. And what is love? Is love just a word? No, it's you
definitely
take that
not.
and turn it into reality, right? And Chris, when you came up here and all that stuff you did, that was beautiful. But that hug at the end, oh my God, that connection. Those were things, but I got to meet a real life flesh person and hug you in
That's
reality.
right.
You know, that connection, that's the language of love, Here
Mm-hmm.
we can see each other or hear each other or both. And that's really wonderful. It's another new way. But it's all like Bob did. The reason why we're doing it is because we want to say, yeah, go out, do it, guys. Just do it. And who's better to have on here? Do it. Not only do it, but try to do it better every day. That's just, oh.
Chris, I'd just like to say, as we end up here, I just want to say from Rebel and I, the biggest, biggest, biggest thank you for your support, your encouragement, your technical input, your knowledge, your love, everything that you've given us that have helped us to sort of go ahead with this project that we have. And then to come on here and talk to us in person about talking to people. It's just such a privilege, an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to, have this conversation because it I can't have these conversations with many people in real life, but it helps whenever, helps me reflect on things. And yeah, this has been a great conversation that I will be able to reflect on.
Yeah, and it might not be the last one, Chris. I have so much fun with you. I was thinking someday we might do something like an old show rehash, like have some people back again, and like, how's it now?
Where have we gone? Yeah.
The
Cool.
last conversation.
That would be awesome.
And even if we don't get back on this thing together here soon, you and I and Bobdub, we can always stay together. But I'd really like to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to you later down the road, just to see how things are
Now that
going.
y'all know how to use this thing, maybe we can get in here.
Cool.
Yeah, Bobdub, I got to tell you real quick. He was saying, you got to add Jitsi. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And I was waiting for him to do it. So I'm going over there
I
trying
tried, and then she figured it out. So
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
he got me going, and I finally figured it out. So I appreciate this. You're inspiring.
You are inspired.
cool.
Okay,
And we
so
will
it must be getting very late for you now, Chris. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's midnight.
move on. And yeah, do episode 2 in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bless you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Look
Yeah,
forward
tell
to it.
your mom hi. And we forgot that the most favorite thing in the world for Chris. Say hi to Wego.
Definitely, guys. Say hi to Wego. I'm sure his ears are perking up over there.
Oh, I bet. Tell him I love him. He's such a sweet dog.
Okay. Bless you guys. We'll see you then next.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm getting tired myself,
Yeah.
so I gotta. Oh,
Okay.
been a long day.
It has. Okay.
Love you, Bob.
All right,
Love
sounds
you,
good.
Chris.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Yea, when this flesh and heart shall fail, and mortal life shall cease, I shall possess within the veil a life of joy and peace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see.